It's a little weird that we can call a group of people a troop, like a Boy Scout troop, and we can now call one person a troop, like people sometimes refer to a soldier as a troop. And that one person meaning is a newer thing. So a listener named Michael asked if, since we sometimes call a soldier a trooper, could troop just be a shortened version of that? Well, let's see. Well, the first use of troop as a word to refer to just one soldier came hundreds of years after people started calling units of soldiers troops. And Michael's instincts are right. The Oxford English Dictionary entry for troop as a singular noun says that in some cases it is, quote, perhaps an abbreviation of trooper, unquote. This also brings us to a related topic, the difference between trooper and trooper spelled Trouper. Both words came into English from French words for a company or band of people, but they came into English at different times, and they developed different meanings in English. All around the English-speaking world, troopers with a double O are police or military people on horseback. And in the United States, this kind of trooper also refers to state police officers. For example, you'd say, I got a ticket from a state trooper last week. Moving on to the OU spelling, an acting company is a troupe. You could say, the troupe is scheduled to perform in Paris next week. An actor in such a group is called a trouper, Trouper. And when someone powers through an illness or a tough role, they're sometimes called a real trooper. The original phrase about someone persevering despite adversity came from the theater, and until about 1970, everyone agreed that the only correct spelling was a real trooper with an OU. But then real trooper with a double O started showing up in published books more and more often until it surpassed the other spelling in the late 1990s. The change is more dramatic in American English, but it's also happening in British English. Comparing the entry for trooper with a U in the last 3 editions of Brian Garner's Modern English Usage books highlights the change. The 2009 edition calls the OOPER spelling invariably inferior and pegs its use in place of the correct spelling as stage 2 in his language change index, which he says means widely shunned and is roughly equivalent to audible belching. But the 2016 and 2022 editions upgraded the trend to stage 3, which means it's now widespread but avoided in careful usage. Garner calls his stage 3 roughly equivalent to overloud talking. Your quick and dirty tip, if you want to be correct, remember that real trooper is like a member of an acting group who goes on stage with a fever, and spell trooper with a U. But keeping that spelling intact is probably a losing battle in the long run, because if you saw my TED Talk, you know that in English, people essentially vote for spelling and usage, and people seem to be voting for the other spelling. And also, a couple of people commented on my mispronunciation of cavalry. I've gotten this wrong before. Sorry. Calvary is the name of a holy site. Cavalry is the name of the military unit. I try to remember that by thinking that the cavalry is cavalier, but sometimes my brain or my tongue betray me. Next, I have a FAMILECT story from Bill.
Hey Mignon, this is Bill. I remembered something based on a recent FAMILECT story about the doot 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 dog faces. And that was that when I was a child, whenever we would use up a roll of gift wrap paper, the cardboard tube that was left behind became a toy for me. And I called them the doot-da-doo because you hold it up to your mouth and you speak doot-da-doo into the tube and it resonates in a fun way. And so in our household, those empty tubes, which I initially started collecting because I was going to build some sort of a marble machine, they became known as
Thanks, Bill. I just made a noise through one of those the other day. Grammar Girl is a quick and dirty tips podcast. Thanks to Nat Hoops, Morgan Christianson, Rebekah Sebastian, Maram Elnagheeb, Stephen Schapansky, Holly Hutchings, and Dan Feierabend, whose dog Sophie has overcome her anxiety about getting her nails trimmed and was very well behaved at her latest trip to the groomer. Good dog. And I'm Mignon Fogarty, better known as Grammar Girl. That's all. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe!